as a student, I found that it was a lot easier to find people to work on, because I looked to my left or to my right and I had other fellow students that I could work on. Now I'm out of school. I'm in a position now where I have to start doing this to earn a living. I should have, and this is what students should think about, the minute you start school, you should start thinking about how you're going to build a clientele. If you're going into the entertainment industry, you have to build a clientele there. If you're going into the general public, you have to understand what kind of research you have to do to build a clientele. In the old days, when I was doing it, using a phone book, the Yellow Pages, was what we did. Today, Twitter, Google, all those kind of things will help you notify yourself where the local photographers are, where the places for doing, say, weddings. Find us a couple of photographers that are interested in having you do a couple of free makeups in exchange for getting full-size headshots. When you come to somebody like me, you don't want to show me a portfolio and I can look at the picture and see your model's feet. I only want to see from the clavicle bone up. That way I can really adjust to the face and look at your work. So think ahead of time about how you're going to build your clientele. Gauging my time was the hardest but the most important thing I had to learn at the beginning of my makeup career working in the entertainment industry. If I was going to work on an actress 3 days in a row, I couldn't take an hour and 20 minutes the first day, 48 minutes the second, and 36 minutes the third day. I had to know ahead of time what I was going to be doing with each separate procedure on that actress. I had to change that to time. I had to know that I was going to do each procedure. They were all going to add up to approximately 40 minutes. I would then let production know that's the amount of time I needed, because if I fell behind, I always had a couple of minutes to play with. But if I went over 10, 15 minutes, that means I'm holding up a crew of maybe 100 people. 100 people in the crew for 10 minutes equates to a lot of money, and that equates to you not working for that production next time. You have to remember, as a makeup artist, you're there to help create a character. You're not there to really socialize with the actor. You're not there to impress them with anything more than the quality of your work and your professionalism. It is the easiest thing to do if you think about the fact that it's your hands and your brain that are there to help create a character. I'm sorry. It's your hands and your brain that are there to help create a character, telling stories about yourself and letting them know how famous you are because you've worked on other famous people. That doesn't work. The main thing to remember is that you want to be on time, you want to make a good presentation, and you want to be able to do your work without talking about your past or all of your accomplishments. The actor sitting in the chair is not interested in that. They're interested in how good you can make them look when they look at what you're doing in the mirror. In addition to that, I just spoke about working with actors in the entertainment industry. Almost exactly the same thing goes when we are working with the general public. When I mean we, you and I are both working with the general public. We're doing a makeup for a special occasion. We're doing a makeup for pictures. Maybe we're doing makeup for weddings. That's going to be one of the biggest money-making areas of your career. And you have to know that when you're working, say, on a wedding, and you've got the bride in your chair, and you're making her up, it's not her most wonderful, happy day of her life. It is her most nervous day of her life up to that point. So you've got to be careful to do her makeup and say the right things to help keep her calm. Also, the next thing that's going to happen when you finish with her is you're now working on, God forbid, the mother-in-law. Okay, you will need to learn to adjust your attitude towards the lady that might be paying for all of this, including your salary. So make sure you don't start sitting there and bragging about how many of these weddings you've done and how you've done all these special things. Again, you're there to make that person sitting in your chair look as good as they can for those family pictures. All right, don't start trying to give advice. I've seen that too many times, and what it does is it hurts you. It only causes you to lose your next 4 or 5 possible jobs. The very first thing I always consider is my comfort, and that's comfort for my shoes. You girls that are thinking of looking hot, or I'm doing it again. All right. The very first thing I think about is the comfort and support of my back by wearing the proper kind of shoe. Wearing high heels for you young ladies is the worst thing you can do. You're probably going to be standing on your feet a minimum of 4 to 6 hours without a break. You start doing that every day, and for doing that for a couple of years, you're going to end up with a bad back. So learn to wear comfortable Oxfords, flats. Tennis shoes are very acceptable. Wearing flip-flops are the worst thing you can do. They might be comfortable for you, but if you have to do the makeup in them, and then you step away from the makeup area and you're going to be doing any touch-up work on the person you're working on by wherever the camera and the lights are, you could have your flip-flops on, you could flip over one of those cables for the lighting and flop on your you know what. That's why they call them flip-flops. So wear a safe shoe as well as a comfortable shoe. Jewelry is something that should be done very tastefully. If you're going to wear a ring or two, that's fine. If you're going to wear a watch, there's nothing wrong with that. Wearing a lot of bracelets on your hand here that make a lot of noise when you're doing the makeup, unacceptable. It's going to make the person you're working on nervous. Wearing a lot of jewelry on your neck, like a necklace, when you're moving around, that's going to be moving, making a lot of noise. It's going to be very distracting. Don't wear your hair so that it's flying all over the place. Wear it in a manner that is acceptable as a professional look, but make sure it's within your comfort zone so that you know that you can wear it as fashionable as you want, but still keep it professional looking. Don't overdo your makeup. The person that you're there to work on is the one that should look like the outstanding person when you're done. You should not be doing your makeup so that you're in competition with the person that you're working with. I see makeup artists and hairdressers letting their ego take over for their talent. If you're in the middle of doing somebody's makeup and you feel, or even at the beginning of doing the makeup, and you want to impress them, and you start telling them about some of the famous photo shoots that you've done, or maybe some of the expensive faces that you worked on, it's no good. If you want to impress them with the quality of your work, do a good job. Leave the part about how famous you are because you've worked on a lot of famous people. Leave that at home. Leave that in your head and make your hands do the creative work for you. That will impress them more than anything else. The more you start talking about the things that you've done, the less attractive you become as a professional to the person that you're working on. They want to be the center of your attraction. They want to be in the limelight while they are sitting in your chair. So if you're working on them and talking about some of the other famous people that you worked with, or some of the big photo shoots that you worked on, you're taking away from their time. And they're going to remember that when it comes to recommending you to somebody next time. Middle of the road is the safest part of the road to go on. When you're working with clients, you again want to make sure that both of you are comfortable for the time that you have them in your chair and they are looking at you in the mirror. If they were to ask you questions, you want to be able to answer them in a way that will make them feel good. Don't answer them with anything that even begins to sound negative about yourself or about them. They need to know that when they leave your chair, the work that you have done will help them feel a lot stronger and a lot more confident. So the less you say that is negative to them, the better they're going to look and the better they're going to feel in their own mind. When we become makeup artists, we become a lot of things. First, we're a makeup artist. Second, we're business people. If we don't learn to balance the artistic part with the business part, again, it's another area where we can fail. If we're talking to a wedding coordinator, and I'm using weddings a lot as an example, if we're talking to a wedding coordinator and they asked me questions in relationship to what I'm doing on the different people that I'm working on, same thing if I'm working on an actress on a stage and the production manager comes over and talks to me about certain entities. I need to understand what they're saying and I need to be able to answer them in a way that they will feel comfortable that I know what I'm talking about. The minute I was able to do that, I was able to win over a production manager for the entertainment industry. I was able to win over a wedding coordinator for a big wedding. I know that there's a much better chance that those two people will refer to me to somebody else in the near future. The average student today is so much luckier than when I went to school a few years ago. During the time I went, that's when Noah was repairing the ark for the second time. So it was quite a while ago. And we didn't have as many educational trade shows as we have today. And today, to spend the money that it costs you as a student to go to a trade show is some of the best money spent. The school that you go to, no matter where it is in the world, has a curriculum that they must follow. And there are teachers that teach that curriculum. A lot of times they don't have the time to show you some of the out-of-the-box things. That's why you want to go to some of these trade shows. And it doesn't mean you go for the first year you're out of school. I know students that I see 10 or 12 years after they're out of school. They're still coming to trade shows to go to the classes for the $20, $30, or $40, whatever it costs you, to go to a trade show for a day and to attend 2 or 3 or 4 classes that are anywhere from an hour to 2 hours long, and to actually watch a professional makeup artist who started where you started, and they're at the top of their career now. That's why they're there showing you the tricks of their trade. That is worth a fortune. The day you stop learning is the day you start falling behind in your profession. As many years as I have been teaching, as many years as I've been a professional makeup artist in the entertainment industry, as well as the medical industry and all the other industries that I work in, I still revel in the fact that I can walk into some classrooms, listen to teachers and go, oh my God, I like the way they're doing that. I'm gonna try that. And that's after doing makeup for years. So don't ever stop learning. I have to smile at that, I really do. I'm going to show you the reason, after all these years of working as a professional makeup artist and also as a teacher, this is probably the main reason that I still do this. It's because of these that I keep doing what I do as a makeup artist and a teacher. The fact that I get so many accolades and thank yous, it doesn't stroke my ego. What it does is it makes me feel warm and cuddly inside, because it means that I still have a value to the makeup industry and you students. Thank you.